Hi everyone, welcome to my channel again. And I have a very, very good friend here with me. Funny enough, we went to the same uni, but we didn't know each other back then. How weird. I knew his brother though, and we were in uni at the same time. And I have Banji here with me, a senior Scrum Master with so many years of experience. And well, let me not talk too much. So let me just leave it for him. So, can you introduce yourself? Introduce yourself to us, Banji.
Hi everyone, my name is Banji, Banji Onide, and I'm a senior Scrum Master, and I've been working as a Scrum Master for many years now. I didn't start as a Scrum Master. I actually started my journey or my career as a lawyer. So I am still a lawyer, practicing both in Nigeria and the UK. But yes, the world led me here, and I've been a Scrum Master helping organizations to strive and get the most out of them.
That's fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. So, a lawyer into Scrum, that's, I mean, two different worlds. Well, so,
Completely different.
yeah, so how did you get into Scrum? Tell us, how did you get into Scrum? What brought about that decision that, hey, Scrum I'm going to do? How did you get into Scrum?
So I felt that when I started in my early years, I mean, I'm not that old, but in my early years, I think I followed my father's footstep. As if you grew up as a Nigerian, you get a choice of five career professions: doctor, lawyer, engineer,
Yeah,
and
pretty much.
banker, whatever it is, and you get to choose. And you get to choose one. Anything outside of that is, why are you wasting your time? So I chose one. I followed my father's footsteps. He's a lawyer, and I became a lawyer. I went as far as satisfied all his ambitions for me, which was even getting qualified in Nigeria. Doing my youth service. That hopefully one day maybe I'll come home and take over the practice and stuff. But I got back to the UK, and I think I was juggling a lot with life, as most people are. And I found that it was easier for me to actually get into another field than it was for me to find get a job, a proper job at a reputable law firm. And law's nice, is very lovely profession to be in, but it doesn't give you that work-life balance that that everyone so desires. So I wanted a bit more flexibility in my work. I wanted to be part of something bigger than myself that I could see for years to come. And technology is the new thing. A couple of years ago, we didn't even have the means to be able to record a Teams video call like this.
Yeah.
But then the world's changed, and I wanted to tap into the industry to see where my skill sets, my transferable skills from being a lawyer and amongst other jobs that I've done in the past, how that kind of feels into into the tech world. And someone told me about what they did, what they do for a living. They were a Scrum Master. They are still a Scrum Master, and you know, they showed me the ropes. I followed, and I haven't looked back since, because not only have I found fulfillment in the things I do on a daily basis, I found a career path, a new career path that kind of sees me being useful or contributing to the world at large for many years to come.
That's nice. That's nice. I know that's a lot to take in. That's a lot to where from being,
Lengthy
yeah, very, very
background.
lengthy background, but well detailed background. Just shows you that you could be anything you want to be if you're determined to be. If you're determined to take on the challenge.
Absolutely.
And um, I'm sure, I'm sure there's been a lot of challenges getting into transitioning from being a lawyer to being a scrum master and into tech, basically. So, can you tell us how it's been so far, as to regards the challenges you faced in this new role from the beginning and, compared to
Um,
where you are now?
yeah, I think in the very beginning, learning is a key aspect of this, and you have to be willing to go all the way. One thing that that sticks with me as a Scrum Master is to focus on the outcome all the time. Even that applies to me in personal life. Kind of focus on the outcome. Applying for jobs, taking the learning. We always learn. In fact, we need to always learn, because the world we live in changes very, very, very rapidly. I mean, I was learning today about something called Bitcoin halving, cutting the costs of Bitcoin into two. And apparently it happens every 4 years. But you would never know unless you kind of open your mind to learn and kind of take on that additional knowledge. So probably one of the biggest challenges was, that self-discipline to learn and to take in information that's completely new, that is nothing to do with what you're doing right now, and taking the dive. It's a risk. It's one that may or may not yield a reward. But for me, in my case, it has yielded a reward because I've continued to push, push to learn more, push to take in more knowledge, push to do so many things. And whilst we say that, our job sometimes as a scrum master is even more difficult in certain situations because of the new introduction of AI, and the impact that's having that's having on the world, in terms of we're being replaced. And that's not just my role as a scrum master. That's developers, testers, business analysts, all of those roles in tech, are gradually being rolled out and being replaced by AI. So it's always a fighting battle for survival. And the only way to set yourself apart is to continue learning, push yourself to the hardest parts, to your highest point or hardest limit, and then wait for it to yield results.
Yeah. So in a bit, we're going to get to the difficulties you mentioned about being a scrum master. So, but
Sure.
for now, how when you were applying for a job, how tedious was it? What challenges did you face? Because there's so many. I'm sure the competition is very very wide, right? So being from lawyer to being a scrum master without so much experience compared to the amount of people in the
Yeah.
in the industry that got a lot of experience already. So how was it? How
Yeah.
challenging was it? LinkedIn. What part did LinkedIn have to play, and other job platforms?
I think it's always a difficult thing trying to break into a new environment, even if you're trying to make a new friend, for
Mm,
example. It's not as easy as it used to be. So just like anything else, I think you kind of have to, like I said earlier, keep your eyes focused on the outcome, what you want to get out of it, what's that
yeah.
end result, and you keep going. It was challenging because, like you said, I had very very limited experience, as a in Scrum to even land my first role, and applying every day, getting rejections, and picking yourself up to keep going, and going to interviews and not getting responses back, even just ordinary feedback to say, this is how you've done. That was painful in parts. I think there was even some interviews that I had done that I had to just shut the laptop because it was just very hard. But I think you just have to keep going. Keep your eyes on the goal. You know why you want to get it. And I think if you keep your mind dedicated, trained, disciplined, I think you can achieve anything you set your mind to. LinkedIn, job boards. I mean, I was applying for 50
Wow,
jobs in a day.
50.
And 50 jobs in a day. It sounds like a huge number, but it's not when you consider the amount of jobs that's been advertised on a daily basis. And back then, to take on someone with no experience, that's even a higher battle to fight. So it's knowing that, look, I'm gonna get this thing. Whether they like it or not, and I'm gonna do everything it takes to get it, whether that's committing myself to attending, sessions, seminars, agile communities of practice, whether that's, listening to live podcasts and YouTube channels and things like that to just broaden and widen my knowledge. All of those things contributed to obviously where I am today, and I
Yeah.
keep
So
pushing.
what I'm hearing there is, no matter how long it takes, just keep pushing, keep driving, keep learning those Scrum languages so that you can use in
Absolutely,
your interviews. I like that. I love that. I love that a lot. I love that a lot.
absolutely,
So, we're going to
absolutely.
go into a bit more technical aspects of what you do. So, can you tell us just
Yes, sir.
summarize what your day is like as a Scrum Master?
So day to day, day to day could range from helping teams. Overall, our job is to help these teams. We're not the ones doing the work,
Mhm.
right? We're not writing code or doing tests. But having to sit on the sideline and actually coach and mentor these these developed teams or team of developers
Mm-hmm.
or testers, and guide them through to becoming self-efficient, self-effective. They resolve issues on their own and things like that. And I think that's why we're there, to kind of help guide. So day-to-day basis, that could range from facilitating scrum ceremonies or events or meetings, to product discovery meetings, to workshops on how to adopt the agile mindset across the organization, or resolving impediments, or just even networking across other departments to see how we can bring everyone under the same house, and kind of drive that agile knowledge across the board, because we know it yields benefits, that there's better results in it, absolutely, for you know for us to, if we adopt the agile mindset, as a whole, rather than a clog in the wheel, or rather than just one department at a time or one team at a time. It's more, how do we broaden that that agile mindset across the board, so that we are all, to show that we're all in it together, and we're all focused on that outcome together as an
Right. So you're
organization.
just more focused on deriving that level of maturity we want to get across board, right? So it sounds like
Yes,
it
absolutely.
sounds very little, but there's a lot of work to do at the same time.
It is. It is. I think one of the most difficult thing is changing mindsets. You're going to go into organizations, they're going to frown on you. Well, how many years have you been a scrum master? What's your background? You have no technical
Mm.
knowledge. You're not paid high enough. You're a man. Why should I listen to you? Um, so you fight a lot of uphill battles, and I think it's important to, obviously, like I said, one of my biggest mottos is to keep your eyes
Right.
focused on the goal. What's that end goal that you're trying to achieve? And yeah, I mean, it's not smooth sailing. I make it sound so easy, but it's not. It's trying to change one person at a time, but with the end goal of winning everybody to that agile mindset of collaboration, of shared understanding, of making sure that we are all inspectors, or inspecting or adapting our ways of working and things like that, to help the organization get to a higher maturity in the first place, deliver the right thing to the customer, make sure that we're delivering not just the right thing, but at the right time as
Right.
well.
Nice. I love that. Something jumped at me at what you said. About where we've not, where people come and say, we've not got, what experience have you have? How much are you even being paid? So now, with salary, so that people watching could understand that, look, we do this. I mean, this big, huge load of work, but let's just give them a little motivation. Motivation. How much? What you said
Of
salary
course,
cap
yes.
of a scrum master is, being the contractor and being the permanent staff.
Hmm. I mean, I don't think there's a cap. I think it's more, if you're able to showcase your skill, you can demand anything. If you manage to convince a CEO that you're worth £1 million, then £1 million is what you're worth. So I think it's down to individuals and how much they are, how much they've broadened their horizons, their knowledge, their understanding of Agile, Scrum as a framework, and how you can help those organizations apply those learnings that you've brought, those knowledge and understanding
Yeah.
that you have, and how you can help them to bring about change, a culture of change to their organization. So, but to be honest, I think you can demand anything. I've seen salaries range on average anyway from probably between so 40K to about 80,
80,
90,000.
90,000.
It's not £90,000. So it's not inachievable. I think it's down to us, as much as we want to convince
So,
an organization that
I
we're
hear
worth the money.
contractors get up to 500, £600 per day,
I've seen even higher. I've seen
£700 per day,
£700 a
£1,000 per
day.
day.
So I've seen £1,000 per day. I think it all just depends on how well you're able
Wow,
to
that's
sell your own
fantastic. So
skills.
for everyone
To
watching, the hard work comes with a lot of good reimbursement. So it's not that bad.
it
It's not that
does,
bad.
it
It's a good
does,
space to come into,
it
right?
does, it does,
So even going into
it does.
more technical bits, more technical. So a lot
Good.
of people feel, because we're using the framework, Scrum framework, it means we're being agile. Yeah, you heard people say that. So
Okay.
you want to shed more light on that?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So, one thing we have to understand is agile itself is a mindset. It's not something we do. I think there are a lot of things that helps to contribute to that mindset. Scrum is one of them, Kanban is one of them, Scaled Agile is one of them, Lean is one of them, Kinefin is one of them, Kaizen is one of them. Those are frameworks. Those are things that helps you to go on that agile journey, that agile maturity, that agile mindset. Bringing it about. So Agile and Scrum are two separate things. They're two very, very different things. But I think if you understand Agile in itself, in its true form, I think you can then apply yourself to any organization, because you could be working in a kebab shop and be agile. You could be working in a post office and be agile. You could be working in a canteen and be agile. But you don't necessarily need to do Scrum or Kanban or anything like that to make you feel like you're doing Agile. So because Agile itself is all in your thinking, is how you think, how you rationalize ideas, how you're creative in your thinking to find ways to improve processes and things like that. So it's all a thinking, it's all a mindset.
Okay, yeah. So that question came in because the other, a lot, there's a lot of misconception that once you're still working in an organization that still works in the waterfall way, you're not being agile. And if you're now using Scrum, you're
Uh,
being agile. So we just needed a clarification. That
yeah.
do you need to be? Is it possible to use Scrum as a framework and still not be agile?
Yes, I see many people do it, and say, oh yeah, we do Scrum at my workplace, but that doesn't necessarily make you agile. I think if your mindset doesn't change, if your culture doesn't change to lean more on,
Mm.
collaborative efforts, and not just from the business, but also the customer. If you're not, taking the time to, break things down and play apart and inspect and adapt as you go along, you could do Scrum all you want, because yeah, Scrum tells you, oh yeah, you should do this ceremony or that ceremony. You should have a Scrum Master, you should have a product owner and a dev team. You should do refinement. All of those things are great, but I think if you don't generally have the core foundation, which is agile in the first place, then you're doing it all wrong. I think first things first is to change that culture, change that mindset, and once you change that mindset, you can then apply those frameworks to that mindset that you have.
Fantastic, fantastic. So, one more question. Now, the Scrum Master wears so many hats, right? Because I'm a
Yes.
Scrum Master myself, so I understand how difficult it is. So most times I like to compare ourselves to like a football team coach, right? Where
Yeah. Yeah.
and because they deal with different characters and in the team and different kind of people, different backgrounds, right?
Of course.
So, but how do you differentiate? How do you know when to wear? Now, I don't like this. There's a lot of insults we get as Scrum Masters that we're just like a glorified receptionist that just take minutes and notes from meetings, right? So how do we differentiate,
Yeah.
when to wear which hats? Because we facilitate so many meetings. I know there are times where the product owner takes charge of certain meetings, more like the sprint planning session. We just facilitate it. So how do you know what hat to wear and when to
Yeah.
wear it?
I think probably one of the first thing you should do as a Scrum Master in any organization is to assess where your team is at, and understand their pain points, understand where the shoes are hurting their feet. Because without having that thorough understanding, going in there and just teaching them Scrum or teaching them Agile or trying to instill that Agile mindset without understanding, what problems do they already have, what attributes or what cultures do you need to change in that team, in that space. And I think once you kind of understand what the sole problem is or the core problems affecting the team is, I think that then gives you a chance to step back and see which hats to wear. We are a coach, because we share experiences sometimes to lead the team or guide the organization even. Sometimes we are a mentor because we want to, we know they have the skill set, we know they have the knowledge. We just want them to bring the best out of themselves. Sometimes we teach, so there are some things that they don't know, and we do. And sometimes we teach them some of these things. So I think it kind of depends on what the circumstances or the issues that are facing the team are, would allow you to then make a decision on which best approach to take. And just because, as Scrum Masters, we need to adopt this mindset of fail fast, learn fast, which means try, experiment, make mistakes, because it's through those mistakes that you become stronger. It's through those mistakes that you learn more. It's through those mistakes that you then become a better person or a better Scrum Master for your team, for your organization. So I think the concept is, once you have the autonomy, I hope you have the autonomy with your organization. Once you have the autonomy, I think it's something you can then play around with and understand what the challenges are and try things out to resolve some of those challenges. And don't be afraid to fail, because failure is all part of the learning.
Okay. So I love that. Thank you. What tools do you use? What tools do you come across? And what kind of what roles do you have? Do you work with on a daily basis? The kind of people you work with and the kind of tools you use as a Scrum Master.
Yeah. I mean, Jira is obviously prominent, as you hear, but just because you use Jira does not make you agile. Tools are great, but Agile itself talks to us and says, where you get a chance, choose personal interaction over processes and tools. So whilst tools play a big part especially in this new generation of online remote working, I think it's important to note that where you get a chance, your personal interactions, individual personal interactions, should be championed before the tools. Jira, tools that we use to manage backlogs or product backlogs, Miro, Mural, MS Teams, React, Cucumber, Gherkin, tools like that are obviously tools that are used by my team. Not necessarily myself on a day-to-day basis, but they are used by my team. Bitbucket, things like that, AWS, those are tools that are used by the team. But having some knowledge of what they are, I think is very, very crucial in your role to be able to support them and help them. And yeah, so those are some of the tools they use. And in some of the teams I've worked with in the past, I've had developers, I've had architects, I've had business analysts, I've had product owners, I've had testers, UI, UX, I've had designers. So I've worked with quite a range of individuals: delivery managers, project managers, product managers, and engagement directors, engagement managers. So I've worked, with quite an extensive amount of people in different roles, but with the sole focus to help get them to the next level.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. So lastly, for everyone watching, just let's give them some tips to take or to use when they're applying for a Scrum Master role, or if they want to transition like yourself from another background, like being a lawyer to being a Scrum Master, or being an engineer to being a Scrum Master. So what tips would you give?
There are a ton of resources out there. You just need to tap into it. Connect with as many people. LinkedIn is a great place to connect with people that you can maybe tap into their brain. There are loads of Scrum Masters on there, Agile coaches that you could make connections with. There are a lot of monthly, bi-weekly Agile meetings that you can attend, and some of those are free. Even some of those are virtual now. So the knowledge is there. I think you just have to be willing to go and grab that knowledge. So once you're dedicated and you've got your mind made up that this is a path you want to toe, the resources are there for you to tap into. There's a lot of content on YouTube that you can watch. There's a lot of podcasts out there that tells you about how to be a Scrum Master and what the day-to-day entail and what skills are required or are needed for you to be successful in that role. So I think it's just about tapping into those. Once you are able to tap into them, I think the sky is only the limit, or even only the beginning. I think you can soar higher than that.
All right then. Thank you. This has been so refreshing to know to hear you speak to us. Just
Thank
to
you.
for us to pick your brain and to see what a Scrum Master is, to understand what a Scrum Master does, and more like an Agile coach too. So thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time, and
Thank you.
speak
Thank
to
you so
you
much.
later. All right.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.